Good morning, Covidius Britannicus. Can you see it on the background? It was so important to me, I put it in my fridge. I don't think I sent Boris's letter back to him, but stay at home, protect the NHS, save lives. That's really what Boris wanted to do, you know. He really did. He wanted you to do those things to save the NHS and save lives. Interesting thought on those little mantras up there. 3 little strap lines, like 3 little birds. Well, 3 little strap lines there. Yeah. And one of them was save lives, yeah. But the other one, more just before it, more important, protect the NHS. I'm going to ask you a really simple question. Why should the NHS have needed protecting? Why should it have needed protecting? Protecting from what? Has it ever been protected from Tory vandalism? Tory cuts? Tory mismanagement? Tory lies? Tory closing A&Es? Tory closing hospitals? Tory care in the community and then closing mental health wards without even making the facilities available for mentally ill people like my wife and myself to some extent available in the community. Tell me, has it ever been protected from that? Tell me, why did countries like Germany and everything not have to remind people to protect their health services? Let me tell you why, yeah? Because he knew on a level like this, the NHS just couldn't cope. He knew about it all along. He knew about it years in advance. When planning for this kind of emergency, this kind of pandemic was done. And he failed to plan. The Tories failed to stockpile the stuff they would need. They failed because they failed the NHS. They've always planned for it to be this way. Yeah? And naturally, if a pandemic comes along and wipes out the service, as well as wiping out loads of ordinary people, goes beyond the capacity of the service to cope. Yeah, if that pandemic can even better working care homes and the likes of that, to wipe out absolutely loads of what the Tories considered to be a burden on society, to wipe out the people that eventually, if they're not already doing so, they'll have to pay their pensions, to wipe out the sickest, the least able to cope, the weakest, the most disabled. Don't you think the Tories thought about that? Yeah? Don't you think for 1 second they thought about that and they thought, oh, this is great? Yeah? Why did he lock down late and why is he opening up early? Yep. Same as it ever was. Herd immunity. Now, you weak, sick and disabled ones out there in that community, yeah? Pandemic's what he needs. He wants to get rid of you. The Tories want to get rid of you. They want to get rid of people like me, whose lives count for nothing. Let me just read you this from a meme, okay? The virus has not gone yet. Hundreds of people are still dying from it. They failed to provide the correct PPE. Back to protecting the NHS and its workers again. Track and trace has been an absolute farce. back to not just protecting the NHS and its workers, but trying to protect us. Yeah? They abandoned the daily briefing. Well, inevitably that was going to happen, wasn't it? They tell their usual lies, yeah, but now they're gone from telling lies. And before they abandoned it, they got rid of people who didn't toe the party line. They've announced the relaxing of the 2-metre rule. I talked about that yesterday. 2 metres, less than a metre plus. I mean, for crying out loud, as even Jane Godley said, who the hell knows what that looks like? Are we going to take a tape measure with us? Are we going to surround ourselves in a little bubble? Are we going to measure ourselves just slightly over a metre from somebody else? Shops are reopening, we know. Pubs will be reopening. Oh, yeah, of course, because, it really matters, doesn't it? It really matters that in times of great hardship, we can all pretend to socially distance in pubs, pissed out of our heads, and we can make the pub industry, the pub owners, the pub chains like dear old Witherspoons and their billionaire owners who pay their workers shit, yeah, and who just don't even furlough them, they fire them when the pandemic began, so we can pay them money, of course, and the shops reopening, of course, because billionaires are losing money. Because their shares are dropping through the floor on the stock exchange. So scientists warn that there's a second spike about to come. But the government, well, they ignore them. Only an idiot would believe them at this point. Talking of COVIDiots, there are 2 of them, perhaps not ideally placed in this photo, but 2 COVIDiots, yeah? Cummings and Bozo the racist clown. That's why, yeah, that's the bad news. Another one I like today. If sheep could vote, let's get that right. If sheep could vote, they'd pick the guy who feeds them, even if it's the same person who will slaughter them later. Wouldn't you? If you were a sheep, wouldn't you pick the guy who fed you? And when one sheep in your flock is trying to say to you, look, that dog as well, yeah? It's a double act between him and the guy who feeds us, the farmer, yeah? That dog is not your friend. Where that dog is taking us is not good. And all the other sheep are going, bah, bah, bah. Yeah, they're all going, bah, bah. Because they think that the farmer and the sheepdog, well, kind of they do, I suppose, have their welfare at heart, but only as a cash crop. What the hell are we to the Tories other than a cash crop? Ian Duncan Smith described unemployed people, you notice, in the House of Commons not so very long ago as stock. We were talking about sheep. Sheep would be handled by a stockman. Ian Duncan Smith described us, also that would include people who are unable to work through sickness or disability. He described us as stock. Something you would keep on a bloody shelf. Look, after saying that, I need to just show you this because I like this. I've just put it on repeat because it just makes me happy. Yeah? Yeah, it makes me happy. Black Lives Matter. Makes me happy. Fascism is not to be debated. It's not to be debated. It's where we're headed, but it's not to be debated. Technically, Ron, I love you. Can't believe they cancelled the Daily Briefing show after 1 season. Just because the main characters killed loads of people. Technically, Ron, you are technically brilliant. I mean, why cancel a good show like that? I mean, I'm sure it had huge viewing figures, yeah? Just took out all the main characters. Second wave, we're all being told. So, you know, while you're out there, while you're scrapping socially distancing, while you're sort of getting, like, I think it was Janie Godley said, so close to the person in front of you that you could measure how far away that you were from their arse crack. Forget it! Don't worry! Herd immunity is back on. Catch it for your country. Catch COVID for Britain. Catch it for Britain. And if you've got a heart condition, if you have asthma, if you have diabetes, die for a good cause. Go out there. Abandon your masks and everything. Abandon it. Use your mask case to fan the virus in. Yeah? And think, I'm dying for my country. I'm getting COVID for my country. I'm getting COVID to make Britain great again. And say to yourself that old lie that was in one of Wilfred Owen's poems, Dulce et decorum est. It is right and proper to die for your country, even if it is through catching COVID, to save the economy and to promote herd immunity. There we go. We know John's Bonson. I suppose he is a bit of a Bonson with a bloody bald mop like that. We know in Tory Britain, Johnson will consult key advisers over relaxing this 2-metre rule, as he's doing on the 4th. Yeah. 4th of July! And we know Johnson's American background. Yeah, there you go. Before 4th of July, he's had a little word with this guy. Yeah. You know, and if you were in Jono's position, wouldn't you have a little word with this guy? Yeah. Wouldn't you speak to this little freak? Yeah. Of course you would. You'd speak to this little freak, wouldn't you? Oh, by the way, racism is still alive and well. Yeah, Black Lives Matter. I think I'll probably pretty much end on this. Aunt Jemima. Now, we don't get them in England, but we might soon be getting Tim Tams, we never know. But once we get really close to America, Aunt Jemima's cake mix and cookie mixes and whatever, the one thing they never showed you in Aunt Jemima's photo on the packet, who's got like loads of waffles in her hands, and she has got this lovely dark skin, and you can obviously see very clearly highlighted her white teeth. Yeah, old black and white photo. But if ever you search for Aunt Jemima, yeah, search on the internet according to this guy, yeah, at Aunt Jemima, you'll never see this fact in the photo. There's a bit with a circle around it. I'll have to perhaps describe it in case you don't totally pick it up. Yeah, you may not see it very clearly in this, but dear old Aunt Jemima is chained to the table. Black Lives Matter. Tories couldn't care less. We're on for fascism. Yep. As soon as that Great Depression really hits, and it is already starting to hit. Yeah. Second wave's coming along, obviously, but fascism, we're on for it. Yep. We're ruled by fascists now, calling themselves Tories, calling themselves free marketeers or whatever, like Three Musketeers, yeah? We're already under fascist rule, yeah? So what more can I say? Stay safe, fight the fascists, fight back, protect each other, don't listen to government lies, stay safe, stay locked down, do all you can to minimise the risk, yeah? You're being lied to, but fascists lie. Fascists lie. You're being ruled by fascists. Take care. Bye.